Hello everyone, this is Shantanu Bhosle and welcome you all in Curious Academy. In our today's topic, we will discuss glacier melting and its preservation. And this topic is important to UPSC mains for subject Geography and Disaster Management. Definition: a glacier is a large, perennial accumulation of crystalline ice, snow, rock, sediment, and often liquid water that originates on land and moves down slope under the influence of its own weight and gravity. The Silent Giants of Ice, a story of Glacier. High in the mountains and far across the poles, ancient giants sleep. Glaciers, vast rivers of ice, snow, rock, and water, slowly moving under their own weight. They have been here for thousands of years, quietly shaping valleys, feeding rivers, and keeping the planet cool. You will find them in the towering Himalayas, the rugged Alps, the mighty Andes, and across the polar regions. There are over 275,000 glaciers across the world, covering nearly 7 lakh square kilometers, about 10% of Earth's land surface. But they are more than frozen beauty. Glaciers act as climate regulators and are lifelines of fresh water for millions. When they melt, they don't just vanish, they flood, they raise seas, and they disrupt entire ecosystems. Preserving these icy giants is not just about saving ice, it's about saving balance, water, and the future of life on the earth. Hidden in the world's highest peaks and coldest corners lie nature's frozen reservoirs, glaciers. They store about 69% of planet's fresh water, silently sustaining life far beyond their icy ages. There are over 2 lakh glaciers across the globe, excluding the massive ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica. But these sheets, if they melt completely, the oceans would rise by over 67 meters or 7.4 meters from Greenland and a staggering 60 meters from Antarctica. Cities would drown, coast would vanish, and the danger is real. If global temperature rise by 2 degree Celsius to 7 degree Celsius, we could lose up to 75% of world's glacier by 21st century. But there is still hope. Keeping warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius could save half of the remaining glacier ice. Why glaciers matter more than just ice? High in the mountains, glaciers quietly serve life below. These icy giants aren't just frozen water, they are lifelines. They are global water resources and they hold nearly 69% of the world's fresh water, feeding mighty rivers like the Ganga, Indus, and Brahmaputra, quenching thirst, watering crops, and powering industries. They are water security for agricultural and human settlements into the Indo-Gangetic plains. Seasonal melt is vital for agriculture, but signs of stress are showing. Like in the Bhaga Basin, where glaciers loss from 2008 to 2021 equals up to 9 meters of water, a warning of future water scarcity. Glaciers also act as natural regulators, but when they melt too fast, they trigger disasters. Glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFS, flash floods, avalanches. The NDMA is now racing to map risks and build early warning systems. They support unique ecosystems like those in Nanda Devi National Park, nurturing alpine plants and pollinators that keep biodiversity alive. And globally, glaciers help cool the earth. Their bright surfaces reflect sunlight, balancing temperatures. But as they shrink, the planet warms faster. Already seen in the tropical Indian Ocean, which warmed by 1 degree Celsius since 1951. Glacier may seem distant, but their fate is tied down to our own. Factors contributing glacier melting. High in the mountains, the ancient glaciers are vanishing, and it's not by chance. Climate change leads the charge. As global temperature rise, these frozen giants shrink fast. The United Nations warns that the Himalayas alone may lose up to 50% of their glacier mass by 2100. But it's not just heat, it's pollution too. Black carbon from cars, factories, and burning biomass settles like a dark veil on the glaciers. It lowers their reflectivity and traps heat, melting them faster. The United Nations Environment Programme's 2024 report named it a major threat in South Asia. And to that, extreme weather, intense rainfall, and heat waves, like those behind the 2025 Swiss floods, are becoming more common even in glaciated zones. Then there's us. Deforestation, urban sprawl, and tourism are disrupting these fragile ecosystems. Projects like Char Dham in Uttarakhand cut into the heart of glacial lands. And as glaciers melt too quickly, unstable lakes form when they burst, like in Kedarnath in 2013, Chamoli in 2021, and Sikkim in 2023. They unleash deadly floods known as GLOFS. Here's the impacts of glacier melting. When glaciers melt, the world trembles. As the glacier retreat, the consequences ripple far and wide. The seas are rising. Glacial melt alone has added 2.7 centimeters since 1961, and every year 335 billion tons of ice vanish, pushing oceans higher and threatening coastal cities across the world. Mountains aren't safe either. In May 2025, the collapse of Birch Glacier unleashed a deadly landslide, wiping out 90% of the Swiss village of Blatten. These disasters are becoming more frequent, fueled by unstable melting. With every glacier lost, the earth reflects less sunlight. The exposed dark ground absorbs more heat, accelerating global warming, a dangerous feedback loop we can't afford. And there's an economic cost too. In places like Iceland, where glacial tourism drives livelihoods, retreating ice means fewer visitors and shrinking income for local communities. Worse still, the ice holds secrets. Dormant viruses and bacteria frozen for millennia. When Siberian permafrost thawed in 2016, it released anthrax spores, infecting people and animals alike. As glaciers melt, ancient pathogens may return. What melts in the mountains doesn't stay there, it reshapes the world below. These are Indian government initiatives to combat glacier melting. First, National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. This is a submission under the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which focuses on Himalayan ecology, glacier research, and community resilience. Second, Center for Cryosphere and Climate Change Studies, which promotes advanced glacier and permafrost research. Third, ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, utilizes satellite data for glacier monitoring and early warning. Fourth, NDMA, National Disaster Management Agency, conducts risk mapping and early warning system development for Glacier Lake outburst floods. Way forward for glacier preservation. Saving the last ice. The way forward. The glaciers are melting, but all is not lost. There's still a path to protect what remains. First, the world must act fast and together. Cutting emissions under the Paris Agreement isn't optional, it's urgent. Limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius could still save half of today's glaciers by 2100. On the ground and in the sky, we need to see the ice more clearly. That means real-time monitoring with satellites, automatic, automated weather stations, and boost on the ground research to track every shift in snow and ice. And since glaciers don't follow borders, neither should our efforts. It's time for climate diplomacy across the Himalayas, shared data, joint disaster planning, and ecosystem protection. Groups like ICI MOD must be strengthened to lead this regional mission. If we act now, wisely, and together, the frozen giants may yet endure. Why in news? A call from the roof of the world. In May 2025, The icy peaks of Central Asia echoed with urgency. At the high level international conference on glaciers preservation in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, leaders from across the globe gathered to confront on of Earth's most silent crisis, melting glaciers. India's voice was clear and committed. Kirti Singh, Union Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, took the stage, urging global cooperation and swift action to protect the planet's vanishing ice. The message from the mountains was unmistakable. Act now or the glaciers may be gone tomorrow. Thank you for watching Curious Academy and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.